For centuries, the Vatican archives have been a source of speculation, mystery, and intrigue. Locked away in a highly restricted section of Vatican City, these archives hold an estimated 85 kilometers of shelving, containing some of the most valuable and secretive documents in human history. While the Vatican insists that these are merely historical records and administrative documents, others suspect that hidden within these corridors lie texts that could shake the foundations of Christianity and rewrite history as we know it. But why would the Church keep such information hidden? And what exactly is inside these archives that makes them so heavily guarded? To understand the significance of the Vatican's secrecy, we must go back to the very origins of this archive and how it became one of the most closely protected collections of documents in the world. The secrecy behind the name, the term Vatican Secret Archives itself, sparks curiosity. In Latin, the original name is Archivum Secretum Vaticanum, which translates not to secret in the modern sense, but rather to private or personal. However, for centuries, this private collection has been inaccessible to the public, fueling theories that it contains information too sensitive for general knowledge. The Vatican first officially recognized the existence of this archive in 1612 under Pope Paul V, though it had existed informally for much longer. Historically, only the highest-ranking members of the Church were allowed access. Even today, only a select group of scholars with special permission can enter, under strict conditions. The Vatican argues that its secrecy is necessary to protect fragile and ancient documents. However, many believe this is merely an excuse to keep the public from discovering unsettling truths. But if this archive is just a historical record, why is it guarded like a treasure chest of forbidden knowledge? And why is it that only certain documents are accessible, while others remain completely off-limits? Theories surrounding the Vatican archives. Over the centuries, rumors have spread about what might be hidden behind the thick, locked doors of the Vatican's archival vaults. Some theories are more grounded in history, while others stretch into the realm of conspiracy. One of the most famous claims is that the Vatican possesses lost books of the Bible, scriptures that were removed or edited to maintain theological consistency. Texts such as the Gospel of Mary Magdalene, the Gospel of Judas, and the Apocalypse of Peter are often cited as examples of writings that were intentionally excluded from the biblical canon. Could these missing texts be stored within the Vatican archives? Another controversial theory suggests that the Vatican holds classified records on extraterrestrial life. The Church has been linked to astronomical research for centuries, and in recent years, several Vatican astronomers have made statements suggesting an openness to the possibility of alien life. Some believe that inside the Vatican archives, there are ancient documents describing encounters between early civilizations and heavenly beings that could be interpreted as extraterrestrial visitations. And then, there is the theory that the Vatican holds documents proving that Jesus Christ was different from how he is portrayed in the Bible. Some researchers claim that the Vatican has letters, reports, and even eyewitness accounts from Jesus' time that contradict the official story of his life, crucifixion, or resurrection. If true, the revelation of such information could shake the very core of Christian belief. The Vatican's tight control on knowledge. Throughout history, the Vatican has played a significant role in controlling knowledge. During the Middle Ages, it was the Catholic Church that dictated what could and could not be taught. Scientific discoveries that contradicted religious doctrine were censored, suppressed, or even labeled as heretical. One famous example is Galileo Galilei, whose astronomical findings supported the heliocentric model of the solar system. His ideas challenged the Church's geocentric doctrine, leading to his trial and house arrest. If the Vatican was willing to suppress knowledge about the movement of planets, what else might they be hiding? This secrecy extends even to modern times. The Vatican has only recently begun declassifying portions of its archive, but much of it remains inaccessible. And here's where it gets even stranger. Even historians who are granted limited access are not allowed to freely browse the shelves. They must request specific documents, which are then retrieved for them. The problem? How can someone request a document they don't even know exists? If the Vatican truly had nothing to hide, why enforce such strict regulations? A labyrinth of hidden knowledge. Imagine walking into a vast underground library filled with millions of documents, some dating back over 200 years. Now imagine that most of these documents are completely off limits to the public, sealed behind bureaucratic barriers, accessible only to a select few. That is what the Vatican archives represent. This labyrinth of hidden knowledge raises many questions. Are there forbidden gospels that could alter the way we understand Christianity? Does the Vatican possess documents related to lost civilizations, or even prophecies predicting future events? Could there be evidence of secret alliances between the Church and powerful historical figures, influencing the course of history in ways we never suspected? These are the kinds of questions that fuel centuries of speculation. As we dive deeper into this mystery, we must explore how these secret archives were carefully built and protected over time, and what historical events might have contributed to the Vatican's obsession with secrecy. The Vatican's control over its archives did not happen overnight. It was carefully constructed over centuries, influenced by political, religious, and historical events. In the next chapter, we will explore how the Vatican archives became one of the most protected institutions in the world, and how key historical events, from the fall of the Templars to the rise of the Inquisition, shaped the secrecy that still exists today. The Vatican's commitment to secrecy did not emerge overnight. It is the result of centuries of strategic maneuvering, political necessity, and religious control. From its earliest days, the Church understood the power of knowledge, and more importantly, the power of withholding it. The Vatican archives, as they exist today, were not originally created to protect religious truths alone. Instead, they were constructed to safeguard the political influence of the Church, ensuring that critical information remained hidden from external forces. But how did this need for secrecy arise? And what pivotal moments in history shaped the Vatican's intense desire to guard its knowledge? To understand this, we must travel back to a time when the Catholic Church was not just a spiritual institution, but the most politically powerful force in Europe. The role of the Church in controlling information. During the Middle Ages, the Vatican was not merely a place of worship, it was the epicenter of power. Kings and emperors sought the approval of the Pope, and in many cases, the Church held authority over the rulers of entire nations. But power is fragile, and the Vatican quickly realized that information could either fortify its control or dismantle it entirely. Thus, the Church established strict doctrinal enforcement. Only approved texts were allowed to be studied and distributed. The interpretation of Scripture was dictated by the Church, eliminating alternative perspectives. Any writings that challenged official Church doctrine were labeled heretical and often destroyed. This policy of knowledge suppression intensified during some of history's most turbulent periods. The fall of the Knights Templar, a lesson in secrecy. One of the most infamous historical events linked to the Vatican's obsession with secrecy is the downfall of the Knights Templar. The Templars, an elite order of warrior monks, were once the most powerful military and financial force in Europe. They were directly endorsed by the Pope, entrusted with guarding Christian relics, and amassed vast amounts of wealth. However, their influence grew too great, so much so that King Philip IV of France saw them as a threat. In 1307, Philip IV conspired with Pope Clement V to dismantle the Templars, accusing them of heresy and corruption. Many believe the real reason behind their downfall was not religious, but financial and political. The Templars had accumulated too much power, and their secrets were too dangerous to be left unchecked. But what happened to their records, their wealth, and their mysterious knowledge? Some historians believe that certain classified documents related to the Templars' downfall are stored within the Vatican archive. Could these documents reveal hidden truths about the true nature of the Templars' missions, their rumored treasures, or even the location of lost relics like the Holy Grail? The destruction of the Templars sent a clear message. Knowledge is dangerous in the wrong hands, and only the Church should decide who has access to it. The Inquisition and the suppression of forbidden knowledge. Another dark chapter in the Vatican's control of information came with the rise of the Inquisition, a campaign of religious persecution aimed at eliminating heresy. Beginning in the 12th century, the Inquisition targeted anyone who dared challenge the authority of the Church. This included scientists and philosophers whose ideas contradicted religious teachings, mystical sects and secret societies suspected of practicing forbidden knowledge, individuals in possession of banned books that questioned church doctrine. Thousands were imprisoned, tortured, or executed. But what happened to their writings, testimonies, and confessions? Many believe that records of Inquisition trials, lost manuscripts, and banned Gospels were locked away in the Vatican archives, ensuring that their secrets would never reach the public. Could these archives contain evidence of suppressed historical events, alternate religious doctrines, or even knowledge that would challenge the Church's narrative on divine truth? The Vatican's censorship of scientific discoveries. The Vatican's control over information wasn't limited to religious doctrine. It also extended to scientific discoveries that contradicted established beliefs. A prime example of this is Galileo Galilei, the father of modern astronomy. In the early 1600s, Galileo supported Copernicus's heliocentric theory, which proposed that the Earth revolved around the Sun, a direct contradiction to the Church's teaching that the Earth was the center of the universe. For this heresy, Galileo was tried by the Roman Inquisition and placed under house arrest for the remainder of his life. His works were banned, and the Church attempted to suppress his findings. But what if Galileo wasn't the only one? What if the Vatican archives hold classified records of other scientific discoveries that were buried to maintain religious authority? Some theorists speculate that the Vatican possesses ancient texts containing advanced knowledge, perhaps even records of technological insights lost to history. Could these archives include documents that reveal early understandings of medicine, astronomy, or even technologies forgotten by modern civilization? The Vatican's secretive relationship with world governments. The Vatican is not just a religious institution. It is also a political powerhouse with deep connections to world governments. Throughout history, the Church has played a role in shaping political alliances, war strategies, and even intelligence operations. Some of the most classified agreements between the Vatican and powerful nations are rumored to be stored within the archives, including secret negotiations between the Vatican and Nazi Germany during World War II, classified diplomatic exchanges between the Vatican and world superpowers, documents related to the Church's involvement in political revolutions. These files, if ever released, could rewrite historical narratives and expose hidden connections between the Vatican and major world events. What else might the Vatican be hiding? If history has taught us anything, it is that the most powerful institutions protect their secrets at all costs. The Vatican's tight grip on its archives suggests that certain documents, if revealed, could challenge historical narratives about the role of the Church, expose forgotten prophecies or suppressed religious texts, reveal hidden alliances and political manipulations spanning centuries. With over 100 years of recorded history locked away, the true contents of the Vatican archives remain one of the greatest mysteries of our time. But while the Church has successfully controlled its secrets for centuries, there are whispers that some documents may have already been leaked. For centuries, rumors have swirled about what exactly is hidden in the Vatican archives. These archives, which contain over 85 kilometers, 53 miles of shelving, hold some of the most classified documents in history, while the Vatican claims they exist merely for preservation. Countless researchers and theorists believe they contain evidence of hidden truths. Truths that could challenge everything we know about history, religion, and even the origins of Christianity itself. But if some of these records were ever leaked, what would they reveal? The mysterious Gospel of Barnabas, a lost version of Christianity. One of the most controversial documents allegedly hidden in the Vatican archives is the Gospel of Barnabas, an ancient text that paints a very different picture of Jesus and his teachings. While Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John form the basis of the New Testament, the Gospel of Barnabas was excluded from biblical canon and labeled heretical by church authorities. Why? Because its contents contradict many fundamental Christian doctrines. According to reports, this gospel suggests that Jesus was not crucified, but another was put in his place. Jesus foretold the coming of another prophet after him. Many of the church's core teachings were altered over time. While scholars debate the authenticity of this text, the fact remains: if it exists, why has the Vatican kept it hidden? Could this gospel reveal a version of Christianity that was deliberately erased from history? The chronovisor, the Vatican's alleged time-viewing device. Perhaps one of the most bizarre claims associated with the Vatican archives is the existence of the chronovisor, a mysterious device said to allow its user to view past historical events. According to Father Pellegrino Ernetti, a Benedictine monk and scientist, the chronovisor was developed in the 1950s by a secret team of scientists, allegedly including Enrico Fermi, one of the key figures behind the development of nuclear energy. The chronovisor was said to capture electromagnetic imprints left by past events, allowing those who used it to witness moments from history as if they were happening in real time. Father Ernetti claimed that through the chronovisor he had seen the crucifixion of Jesus, the last speech of Napoleon Bonaparte, the destruction of Pompeii. But soon after making these claims, Ernetti mysteriously retracted his statements, and all mentions of the chronovisor disappeared from public discussion. Could this be an elaborate hoax, or did the Vatican intervene to keep this technology hidden? If such a device ever existed, its implications would be earth-shattering. The secret prophecies of Fatima, a warning the Vatican suppressed. The three secrets of Fatima are among the most debated revelations in Catholic history. In 1917, 3 Portuguese shepherd children claimed to have received divine visions from the Virgin Mary. These messages, known as the 3 secrets, were later recorded and given to the Vatican. While 2 of the secrets were revealed publicly, the 3rd secret was kept hidden for decades, leading to widespread speculation about its contents. When the Vatican finally released the 3rd secret in 2000, many believed the version given was incomplete or deliberately altered. The released text described a vision of a bishop in white being killed, which was interpreted as predicting the assassination attempt on Pope John Paul II in 1981. However, many scholars and religious figures rejected this interpretation, arguing that the real secret was about the end times and a great apostasy within the Church. The Vatican withheld the full message to prevent mass panic. The original document contained a warning about a global catastrophe. Even Pope Benedict XVI suggested that the full 3rd secret had not been revealed. If this is true, what does the Vatican know that it refuses to share with the world? The missing books of the Bible. What was removed and why? Over the centuries, many ancient texts that were once considered sacred were mysteriously excluded from the Bible. Among them, the Book of Enoch describes fallen angels and divine knowledge given to humanity. The Gospel of Thomas, a collection of sayings attributed to Jesus, emphasizing inner wisdom rather than religious institutions. The Acts of Paul and Thecla, a text that suggests early Christian women had leadership roles in the church. The decision to exclude these books was made by church authorities, but some believe these texts challenge traditional teachings and expose a different perspective on Christianity. Could the Vatican's archives contain the missing pieces of biblical history that the Church never wanted us to see? The Vatican's classified UFO files, encounters with the unknown. It may sound like science fiction, but numerous reports suggest that the Vatican has knowledge of extraterrestrial life and has been keeping it a secret for centuries. There are historical accounts of Catholic clergy witnessing unidentified flying objects and strange celestial events. Some researchers claim that certain classified documents in the Vatican archives contain reports of alien encounters that the Church has studied but never disclosed. In fact, Father Corrado Balducci, a Vatican theologian, openly discussed the possibility of extraterrestrial life and suggested that the Church was aware of alien beings. If these records exist, why has the Vatican remained silent? Could these revelations shatter traditional religious beliefs? The Vatican and the bloodline of Jesus, a suppressed truth. One of the most controversial theories involving the Vatican is the idea that it holds evidence of Jesus having descendants. The Holy Bloodline theory, made famous by the Da Vinci Code, suggests that Jesus may have been married, possibly to Mary Magdalene. His descendants continued through secret bloodlines. The Vatican has deliberately suppressed any records supporting this idea. While mainstream historians dismiss this theory, some claim that hidden within the Vatican's classified archives are ancient documents that tell a very different story about Jesus' life. If such a truth were ever revealed, it would shake the foundations of Christianity and change history forever. What else remains hidden? These examples are just a fraction of the alleged secrets within the Vatican archives. With over a millennium of classified documents locked away, what other truths might be hidden from the world? Could there be maps of lost civilizations? Are there records of unknown ancient technologies? Is there evidence of apocalyptic events that the Church is keeping hidden? As long as the Vatican refuses to grant full access to its archives, the world may never know the full extent of what is being concealed. Throughout history, the Vatican has been one of the most powerful institutions on earth. But power is not just about influence, it is about controlling information. The Catholic Church has played a major role in shaping human knowledge, determining what is remembered and what is erased from history. But how exactly does the Vatican suppress and manipulate information? The forbidden scientific discoveries. When faith and knowledge collide. One of the Vatican's greatest conflicts has always been between religion and science. Throughout history, many scientific discoveries were seen as threats to the authority of the Church. One of the most infamous cases was Galileo Galilei. In the 17th century, Galileo used a telescope to confirm that the Earth revolved around the Sun, not the other way around. This directly contradicted the Church's teachings, which supported the geocentric model, the belief that Earth was at the center of the universe. Rather than accept the truth, the Vatican condemned Galileo and forced him to deny his findings. He was placed under house arrest for the rest of his life, and his research was censored. But Galileo was not alone. Other scientific ideas that faced Vatican suppression include Giordano Bruno, a philosopher who proposed that the universe contained many inhabited worlds. The Church burned him at the stake in 1600. The theory of evolution, which the Vatican resisted for decades, fearing it would contradict the biblical story of creation. The Dead Sea Scrolls, ancient Jewish texts discovered in the 1940s, which could reveal new insights about biblical history, yet access to some of them remains restricted. If the Vatican has controlled information in the past, what other discoveries might they be hiding today? the Vatican's role in erasing historical figures. Another method of controlling history is deciding who is remembered and who is forgotten. The Vatican has the power to erase individuals and rewrite events to fit its narrative. A prime example is Pope Joan, the legendary female pope who allegedly reigned in the 9th century. According to some sources, Joan disguised herself as a man and was elected pope, only to be exposed when she gave birth during a public procession. The Church has denied her existence, claiming it is a myth, but historical records suggest otherwise. Another example is Mary Magdalene, a key figure in Jesus' life. For centuries, the Church portrayed her as a repentant prostitute, despite no biblical evidence supporting this claim. Why? Some believe it was to diminish her role and prevent her from being seen as a leader among Jesus' followers. How many other figures have been erased by the Vatican's influence? The Vatican's relationship with secret societies. For centuries, the Vatican has been linked to secretive organizations. Some claim that groups like the Freemasons, the Jesuits, and the Illuminati have worked alongside or against the Vatican in a struggle for power and hidden knowledge. One of the most well-known conspiracy theories involves the Knights Templar, a medieval order of warrior monks who became extremely wealthy and powerful. The Vatican initially supported them, but in 1307, Pope Clement V turned against the order, leading to their mass arrest and execution. Many believe the real reason behind their downfall was that the Templars had discovered forbidden knowledge, perhaps even secrets about Jesus and the Holy Grail. Could the Vatican's archives contain records of secret dealings with these powerful organizations? The censorship of banned books and documents. One of the Vatican's most powerful tools for controlling knowledge has been the Index Librorum Prohibitorum, the list of prohibited books. For over 400 years, the Vatican maintained a banned book list, preventing Catholics from reading texts considered dangerous or heretical. Books that were banned include works by Galileo and Copernicus, which contradicted church teachings, the writings of Martin Luther, the founder of Protestantism, the Divine Comedy by Dante Alighieri, which depicted corrupt popes in hell, philosophical works by Voltaire and Descartes, which promoted free thought. Although the index was officially abolished in 1966, the Vatican still holds influence over which religious texts are widely circulated. Could there be modern books that the Vatican actively suppresses today? The Vatican's control of media and information. Even in the modern era, the Vatican continues to influence global narratives. The Vatican owns Vatican Radio, which broadcasts in 40 languages, L'Osservatore Romano, the Church's official newspaper, the Vatican News website, which publishes articles shaping religious discussions. Through these channels, the Vatican ensures that its version of events dominates the conversation. But how much of the truth is actually being told? In a digital age, where information is more accessible than ever, the Vatican's ability to suppress knowledge is being challenged. However, its archives remain one of the most secretive collections on Earth. What other truths could be hidden behind the locked doors of the Vatican archives? The Vatican's archives are among the most mysterious and restricted collections of documents in the world. Locked away behind centuries-old walls, these records contain countless texts, manuscripts, and historical documents that have never been made public. But what exactly is hidden in these archives? What books and records have been deliberately kept from the world? The mysterious Vatican Archives. The Vatican Apostolic Archive, formerly called the Vatican Secret Archives, contains over 85 kilometers of shelving, with documents dating back more than 1,000 years. Access is highly restricted, and only a select group of scholars can view specific materials under strict supervision. Many suspect that the Vatican holds texts that could challenge fundamental religious beliefs. Some of the rumored documents include the true gospel of Jesus, revealing unknown details about his life and teachings, lost books of the Bible, texts that were excluded from the official canon. Records of the Church's involvement in global politics, including dealings with controversial leaders, ancient manuscripts on mystical knowledge, possibly connecting Christianity to esoteric traditions. If these texts were made public, they could rewrite religious and historical narratives. The lost books of the Bible, what was removed and why. The Bible as we know it was not always the same. Throughout history, church councils decided which books were divinely inspired and which were to be left out. This process was not random. It was based on theological and political motives. Some of the most famous banned texts include the Gospel of Thomas, which presents Jesus' teachings in a way very different from the traditional Gospels. The Book of Enoch, which describes angels, giants, and apocalyptic visions, but was removed from most biblical traditions. The Acts of Pontius Pilate, which may contain an alternative account of Jesus' trial and crucifixion. The Gospel of Mary Magdalene, which suggests Mary had a special role among Jesus' followers, a fact that the Church sought to downplay. Why were these texts excluded? Was it because they contradicted official doctrine, or because they contained truths too dangerous to be known? The Book of Enoch and the Fallen Angels. One of the most controversial excluded books is the Book of Enoch. This ancient text, once considered scripture, describes a group of fallen angels called the Watchers, who descended to earth and corrupted humanity. The Vatican has long been suspected of hiding or restricting access to certain versions of the Book of Enoch. Why? Some believe this text reveals knowledge about supernatural beings and the nature of good and evil that the Church did not want widely known. If the Book of Enoch was considered too dangerous for the Bible, what other books might the Vatican be keeping secret? The Vatican's role in the burning of forbidden texts. Throughout history, the Catholic Church has actively suppressed and destroyed books it considered dangerous. Some examples include the Great Library of Alexandria, which some believe was partially burned down due to religious conflicts involving early Christians. The Cathar texts, destroyed in the 13th century when the Vatican ordered a crusade against the Cathar sect. The Mayan codices, burned by Spanish priests in the 16th century, erasing centuries of knowledge about Mesoamerican civilizations. Could the Vatican archives hold surviving copies of texts once thought to be lost forever? Hidden prophecies, the Vatican, and future predictions. Some believe the Vatican holds secret prophetic documents, revealing knowledge of future events. One of the most famous cases is the Third Secret of Fatima. The Fatima prophecies, revealed to 3 Portuguese children in 1917, included 3 apocalyptic visions. The first 2 were released by the Vatican, but the third was kept secret for decades. When the Vatican finally released it in 2000, many scholars were skeptical, believing that the true third secret was still hidden. Some speculate that it contained a vision of the end times, a prophecy so terrifying that the Church chose to suppress it. If prophecies like this are being hidden, what else does the Vatican know about the future? The Vatican's restricted sections. What lies beyond public access? Even within the Vatican's library, there are sections that are completely off limits. Some believe these areas hold the most sensitive materials, including ancient pre-Christian documents, revealing possible connections between Christianity and older religions. Esoteric knowledge, including mystical practices that were once part of early Christianity. Records of supernatural encounters, potentially including unexplained phenomena or divine interventions. What is so dangerous about these texts that they must remain hidden even from scholars? The Vatican's fear of disclosure. If the Vatican is truly hiding knowledge, why keep it secret? The most common theories suggest protecting religious authority. If certain texts reveal inconsistencies in biblical stories, it could weaken the Church's influence. Avoiding global chaos. Some documents may contain shocking historical or supernatural revelations that could destabilize belief systems. Controlling access to knowledge. Those who control information control the narrative and, ultimately, control history itself. Could a full disclosure of the Vatican's hidden documents change our understanding of God, history, and the universe itself? The Vatican's secrecy is legendary, but over the centuries, a few individuals have claimed to have seen its most classified documents. Their accounts offer a glimpse into a hidden world, one that few outsiders have ever been able to access. Are these whistleblowers telling the truth, or are they simply fabricating stories? And if their testimonies are true, what shocking secrets have they uncovered? Father Malachi Martin, a former Vatican insider, speaks out. One of the most famous former Vatican insiders to speak about its hidden knowledge was Father Malachi Martin. A Jesuit priest and a close associate of high-ranking Vatican officials, Martin had access to many confidential records. Before his death in 1999, he made several chilling claims, including the Vatican possessed evidence of supernatural events, including exorcisms and demonic manifestations. There were secret deals between the Church and world governments to control historical narratives. The third secret of Fatima was far more terrifying than what the Church publicly revealed, possibly foretelling a great spiritual deception. Martin's revelations were dismissed by the Vatican, but many believe he was silenced because he knew too much. The Vatican and the Codex Gigas, the Devil's Bible. Another strange testimony involves the Codex Gigas, often called the Devil's Bible. This massive medieval manuscript, allegedly written in a single night with the help of supernatural forces, contains a full Latin Bible, as well as texts on exorcisms and demonic rituals. For centuries, rumors suggested that the Vatican held hidden pages of the Codex that contained forbidden knowledge, possibly details on the true nature of Lucifer's rebellion. Some claim that certain sections were removed before the Codex was placed in the National Library of Sweden. Could the Vatican have taken possession of the missing texts, knowing their contents were too dangerous to be revealed? The testimony of an anonymous Vatican archivist. In 2012, an anonymous Vatican archivist gave a startling interview, claiming that deep within the archives there are texts so ancient that they predate recorded history. Among his claims were, the Vatican has records of unknown civilizations that existed long before biblical times. Documents suggesting that Jesus' life was even more complex than the Gospels indicate. A collection of letters from early church leaders debating how to edit or modify biblical texts for political reasons. If true, these revelations would mean that the Bible itself has been carefully shaped and edited over the centuries, raising questions about what might have been deliberately left out. The Vatican's connection to the Knights Templar. Another frequent claim is that the Vatican holds classified records about the Knights Templar, the mysterious warrior monks who were accused of heresy and executed in the 14th century. Some historians believe that before their downfall, the Templars discovered hidden knowledge, possibly related to the Holy Grail, secret Gospels, or even proof of Jesus' descendants. A few rare documents that escaped Vatican control suggest that the Templars may have uncovered early Christian writings that contradicted church doctrine. The Vatican destroyed evidence linking the Templars to knowledge of sacred relics and esoteric teachings. The disbanding of the Templars was less about heresy and more about preventing their discoveries from coming to light. If the Vatican truly holds the last remaining Templar secrets, what could they reveal about the origins of Christianity? The 36-hour Pope. What did he learn? A final bizarre case is that of Cardinal Albino Luciani, who became Pope John Paul I in 1978, but died mysteriously only 33 days later. Some believe he had begun to investigate corruption within the Vatican and had stumbled upon classified information that sealed his fate. According to unverified reports, John Paul may have questioned financial dealings between the Vatican and powerful banks. expressed interest in declassifying certain religious documents, including texts on Mary Magdalene, planned to reveal hidden church knowledge about prophecy and spirituality. His death was officially ruled as a heart attack, but many theorists believe that he was silenced before he could expose what he found. What is the Vatican so afraid of? With so many testimonies, some from high-ranking clergy, historians and whistleblowers, one has to wonder, what could be so dangerous that the Vatican is willing to protect these secrets at all costs? Some possibilities include proof that early Christianity was heavily altered, meaning today's teachings are not fully accurate. Documents that expose hidden supernatural events, challenging the Church's narrative. Prophecies about world events that could trigger mass panic or rebellion. If just one of these theories is true, it would mean that history as we know it is incomplete, and that the Vatican may be the only institution that knows the full truth. The Vatican is not just a religious institution. It is a political force, a financial empire, and a guardian of secrets that could reshape our understanding of history. But how has it used its influence to maintain control over sacred knowledge, world affairs, and even the future? Could the Vatican's hidden archives contain evidence of its role in major global events? And if so, why has it worked so hard to keep these documents out of public reach? The Vatican and world governments, a silent partnership? For centuries, the Vatican has maintained close ties with world leaders, monarchs, and secret societies. Despite being a religious state, it has often played a crucial role in global politics. Historical records suggest that the Vatican has acted as a mediator in wars and peace treaties, sometimes influencing the outcomes in its favor. Secret Vatican documents may contain intelligence on world leaders, giving it political leverage. The Church's involvement in global banking systems suggests it holds immense economic power behind the scenes. One of the most controversial theories is that the Vatican has a classified network of informants, a spiritual intelligence agency, so to speak, that monitors global affairs and gathers knowledge long before it reaches the public. Could this explain how the Vatican has remained one of the most powerful institutions in history? The Vatican and scientific suppression, a war against forbidden knowledge. Throughout history, the Catholic Church has been both a patron of science and a suppressor of discoveries. Some of the world's greatest minds, such as Galileo, Bruno, and Copernicus, found themselves in conflict with the Vatican for challenging established beliefs. Some theorists believe the Vatican has classified records of ancient technologies that could revolutionize the world, suppressed evidence that contradicts the biblical timeline of human history, withheld certain discoveries about the nature of reality, time, and the universe. One persistent rumor suggests that the Vatican holds manuscripts from the Great Library of Alexandria, which contains scientific, medical, and historical knowledge that was supposedly lost forever. Could it be that the Church preserved this information, but deemed it too dangerous to be shared with the world? The Vatican and the prophecies of the end times. Perhaps one of the most terrifying mysteries locked within the Vatican archives is its collection of prophecies. Throughout history, visionaries, mystics, and saints have claimed to receive divine warnings about the future. The Vatican is rumored to possess unreleased sections of the Fatima prophecies detailing catastrophic future events, ancient apocalyptic texts that could rewrite what we know about the Book of Revelation, lost predictions from Nostradamus and other visionaries, hidden to prevent global panic. Could the Vatican have foreknowledge of world events, from wars to natural disasters, and be actively influencing history to shape its preferred outcome? The secret doctrine, what only the Vatican elite knows. Some researchers believe that the highest-ranking members of the Vatican possess a hidden doctrine, one that is only revealed to select individuals within the Church. This secret knowledge could include the true origins of Christianity and teachings that were never made public. The real reason for Vatican secrecy, potentially tied to ancient civilizations and lost knowledge, a classified theology that explains hidden spiritual forces governing the world. If such a doctrine exists, it would mean that even devout followers of the Church are only given part of the truth, while the rest remains locked away for those who truly hold power. The final question: what happens if the Vatican's secrets are exposed? If the Vatican were to declassify all of its archives, what would happen? Would it confirm our deepest suspicions or reveal something even more shocking? Some believe that full disclosure would change religion forever, forcing the Church to admit its role in shaping history and controlling knowledge. Others think that it would confirm spiritual and supernatural truths that humanity is not ready to face. Would we finally learn the true origins of humanity, the real teachings of Jesus, the prophecies about the end of civilization? Or would we discover that the Vatican knows something far darker, something that it has been hiding not to deceive the world, but to protect it from knowledge too dangerous to reveal? For centuries, the Vatican has been accused of hiding the ultimate truth, a revelation so powerful that it could shake the foundations of religion, history, and even human identity. But what if the Church is not just hiding knowledge, but protecting it from the world? What if there is something so dangerous, so transformative, that its exposure could destroy faith or change it forever? The lost books of the Bible, the truth that was never meant to be known. One of the most persistent theories about the Vatican's secret archives is that it contains lost books of the Bible, texts that were deliberately removed because they contradicted official doctrine. Ancient manuscripts such as the Gospel of Judas, which presents Judas as the chosen disciple, not the traitor. The Gospel of Mary Magdalene, which suggests she played a far greater role in early Christianity than history admits. The Book of Enoch, which speaks of fallen angels, Nephilim, and a cosmic battle hidden from humanity. These texts, if fully revealed, could alter our perception of Christianity forever. Did the Church decide that humanity was not ready for these teachings, or did it fear that releasing them would weaken its control over religious narratives? The Vatican and extraterrestrial knowledge. The hidden connection. One of the most controversial claims about the Vatican is that it possesses evidence of extraterrestrial life, and that this knowledge is buried deep within its archives. Some theorists suggest that the Catholic Church has long been aware of intelligent life beyond Earth. Historical religious texts describing heavenly beings and chariots of fire may in fact be accounts of alien encounters. The Vatican's Advanced Technology Telescope, VATT, operated by the Jesuits, is actively searching for signs of extraterrestrial intelligence because they already know something we don't. Could it be that certain biblical figures were not divine messengers, but visitors from another world? And if so, how would this knowledge affect faith, history, and the future of humanity? The hidden prophecy that predicts the end of the Church. Throughout history, there have been mystical predictions that speak of the fall of the Vatican and the collapse of Christianity as we know it. One of the most chilling is the prophecy of the popes, attributed to St. Malachi. According to this prophecy, there would be 112 popes before the final destruction of the Church. Pope Francis is said to be the last or near last pope. The final pope would witness the destruction of Rome and the end of Catholicism. Is the Vatican preparing for a global event that could bring about the end of its power? Some believe that the real third secret of Fatima, a prophecy revealed to 3 children in 1917, contains a terrifying prediction about the Vatican's fate, one that has never been fully released to the public. Could this be why the Church has kept it hidden for so long? The Vatican's ultimate fear, the revelation that changes everything. What if the Vatican is not hiding these secrets to control the world, but because it believes that humanity cannot handle the truth? What if the knowledge locked away in its archives threatens the very fabric of civilization? If all of the hidden documents, lost books, prophecies, and suppressed discoveries were revealed tomorrow, the world would be forced to confront questions such as, who really created humanity? Are we alone in the universe? Was history manipulated to control belief? Is there an event coming that will change everything? And most importantly, would we even want to know the answers? The final question: what if the Vatican can't keep its secrets forever? The internet has made it increasingly difficult for institutions to control information. Documents leak, archives are hacked, and whistleblowers come forward. What happens if one day a revelation emerges that proves everything we thought we knew was a lie? Would the Vatican fight to suppress the truth, or would it finally be forced to admit what it has known all along? And if that day comes, will we be ready?